G'day Ange, g'day Peter. I was talking to you last week, Angela, with respect to the show, the orchid show, and I'll be sending you a copy of last year's 2011 show on a disc as well. But I put 15 orchids in all told this year, and 12 of them ribboned. This little one here is the Kimberley Valley, which is quite a nice gold little orchid. It's quite a goodie. And this is one of the newer ones. It's called Jeddah, and it's quite a nice little cymbidium in dark chocolate. That one took out a first prize, as you can see, and it's quite a lovely flower. And this little one, when the judges saw it, they took special notice of it. One of the new little pinks, and it took out first prize, but also, as you can see by the cards, it got more than one prize. And this is the Cymbidium Orchid Society of Victoria, and they gave this one a special sort of plaque. It's in the 5 small Cymbidiums in the state, so that's a bit of a winner there, so I'm quite pleased with that one. Yeah, and this little one, Angela, you remember this, you were growing this at Jim Boomba in your place out on the back porch. That's a Blatilla striata, the little Chinese moon orchid. It wasn't out for the show, but you know, this year it's just absolutely splendid. But had I had that in the show, I think that would have ribboned it well. But it's a beautiful orchid. But you'll remember that one at your back door. And this one, Angela, is one of the new pinks in the miniatures, and it's called Vera Lynn. English name, English grower. Quite an attractive little flower. It took out a first prize. This is one that caught the eye of the judges. And the guy that you remember down at San Remo, when I used to go and get my orchids down there off Carl. Carl uses the old vintage orchids, and he doesn't come any further than around about 1960, so he still obtains the old shaped petals, which he likes more than the rounder ones. But this one took the judge's eye, and they hadn't seen anything like that before, and that took out a first prize as well. That is a beautiful orchid. You can see by the size of it. It's quite a nice orchid. Now this is one that I've had for quite some time. This is a little Sarah Partisan, which also is a lovely little orchid. But I'm going mostly for miniatures now because the others are getting too big for me to handle. And that got a second prize. So
one up the back there, Sid?
This one?
A small one at the back there?
Which one?
The small one you got there at the back.
Oh,
for the first prize?
Yep. And this little one here, Angela, when you're up in Queensland you had some of these. This one's called Arthritis, and it's also got a first prize. It's the first of the Australian natives I've got out. All these, as you can see, all the new stamens are ready. They won't be out until November, but that was an early one, and the judges liked that as well. So, and this one, Angela, is one of the Australian native dendrobiums. It's called Wingara. And but that didn't ribbon, probably because the flowers are just a little bit on the turn at the moment, but it's still a very, very beautiful flower, and so I'll have to time it a little bit different next year, so it comes out a fortnight later. And this one, Angela, I thought this would ribbon. It's only got the 4 or 5 flowers on it, and I think that's why the judges didn't look at it too much. But this is my favourite colour. The Tracy Redaway goes back to, you're looking probably 1920, and he's crossed that with one of the more gold ones, and that's what he's come up with. So the Tracy Redaway was the old one and the Pure Destiny was the other. But I thought that would have ribboned, but it didn't. But next year I'll try to get at least 4 or 5 spikes on it and work on it. I reckon it probably could take out the champion of the show. And the little tackers here, the buds have got to that. These are the Masavalias. They come from Mexico, and they're quite an ornate little orchid. And as I say, it's looking a bit ordinary now because a couple of the bugs have got it, but they're very, very unusual, and they're well liked by a lot of the orchid growers. This is one of the new strains too, with the slightly rounded petals. It's a Riviera Cockspur. Quite a popular colour sort of coming out. The emphasis on the actual lips of the labellum, which are very, very dark in colour. And that particular one got a second as well. And moving on to this one, is one of the old vintage types, Angela. It dates back, it was found in central New South Wales back in 1892, and it's one of the very, very few perfumed orchids. It has a very delicate perfume, not as strong as that one up in Jim Boomba that the lady next door had, but this particular one is a classic, and there's not many of them around. And when they found these, they closed off the area for 4 years, searching for all the orchids that were in the area. They found 8 different species, and this was released for the growers to first touch them and keep them in their collection or hybridise them in 1900. And when the judges went past that, they were just blown away. So although we didn't have a vintage section, I thought this would have got a certificate of commendation, but it didn't. But the judges were actually blown away by it. But it's a beautiful orchid, one of the old types. This little one is it's only a very, very small orchid. I've got quite a few different sort of types of them. This one comes from Tasmania. It's a Dendrobium Dockerilla striolatum. But and there's not many of this colour, which has a little pink delicate centre in it. So as this grows, it'll be quite a nice little orchid. And this particular one, it's called a Valley Khan, and it's one of the new shapes. You can see the very, very rounded petals, the dark labellum, and the judges liked it, sort of second prize. It probably could have taken out first, but you'll notice it's quite conglomerated there, and that's probably why they didn't give it a first on it. But still quite a nice little orchid. But it's quite a nice one, the Valley Khan. And this little one here, it's just starting on a bit on the turn at the moment. I'll see if I can just turn it around where the better flower is. There we go. And that got a second, and that's called Grecian Gold. Once again in the small miniatures. But most of the miniatures are still obtaining the little nice narrow leaf. They haven't gone into the rounded petal like you see with the bigger ones. So I'll be having more of these to handle. It'll be much easier for me. So, but that's quite a nice one too, with a second prize there. And that's just about the lot of those that were in the show, Andrew, at the moment. So another new little one here. It's the first time that's flowered. That's called a Pleione. That comes from Nepal. Quite a nice little flower. And so basically, mate, that's the collection I put in this year. They did very, very well, and I'm quite pleased with them. I did sell $500 worth of orchids at the show, which has gone towards doing the carpet in the unit, and also decking outside here, where it makes it a bit easier for me. So, so that's what I'm doing, is getting rid of orchids and using them to do other things. And so that's them. But you'll also see the the video that I did last year with my friend Rod. He's on the camera at the moment, and I think you'll enjoy that because it goes for some 35 minutes. Okay, so you take care, and I'll catch up with you both. Love you heaps. Bye.